but we have received credible intelligence from our law enforcement agencies that there are groups with malicious plans for the rally that is planned for Monday. This includes out-of-state militia groups and hate groups. They are not coming to peacefully protest. They are coming to intimidate and to cause harm. State intelligence analysts have identified threats and violent rhetoric similar to what has been seen before other major events, such as Charlottesville.
A state of emergency has been declared in Richmond, Virginia from Friday through Tuesday, and a ban on weapons, including what leftists like to call assault weapons, as well as chains, bats, and other damaging weapons, have been completely barred from Capitol grounds over this weekend on Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. And the reason why will shock you. Welcome back to the Daily Dose with your favorite gay black woman, me, Elijah Schaefer. Today is a very interesting topic, but before we get into that, I want to let you know that we need your help to continue to spread the truth. So if you love what we do here, our reports, our street interviews, please click the button below to subscribe. And if you thought you were subscribed, do us a favor and double check that you still are, as we have hundreds of reports every week of people being basically removed out of our subscription list. And so please click that notification bell so you always get the news you depend on every day. Anyway, let's talk about what's going on. That video you just saw was Democrat Governor Ralph Northam. And of course, you might remember him, of course, as being one of these two people. I don't know if he was the black-faced guy or if he was the hooded Klan member, but this is the guy who controversially in a medical school, I believe it was, yearbook, dressed up as one of these characters. Now, I don't really care personally, but I just want to let you know this guy's no stranger to controversy. He, of course, never really fully got reprimanded for that. He never lived that down, but the Democrats didn't care because, of course, he's one of their poster children, and he's swift to try to institute legislation that's anti-constitutional and infringes on the lives of individuals. Well, anyway, I want to get into this. There is an article ahead of this rally on Monday, which is over controversial gun laws that the now Democrat legislator is trying to put into place. Now, Virginia has been ruled by Republicans for about 2 decades. And as soon as the left-wing legislator got into office, they started instituting very, very controversial ideas. And we'll get into those in a moment. But there is a giant rally planned on Monday where upwards of 30 to 50,000 people are planning on descending upon the Capitol to protest what they believe is unconstitutional gun restrictions, which, by the way, me and my team are going to be there Monday filming an incredible report. We'll have reports live on that. But let's look at the article. So it comes from The Hill. Virginia governor is to ban weapons around the Capitol ahead of gun rights rally report. So we have our Studley man here. Look, they always look like this. You know, he looks like he's unhappy. He looks like he doesn't like his job. He just has to push this radical globalist agenda, this anti-gun, anti-constitutional, anti-life policies that the left is trying to institute in these wonderful and great states. And it's really tragic. But it says Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, Democrat, is set to declare an emergency that at least temporarily bans individuals from carrying firearms on the grounds of the state capitol ahead of a gun rights rally that is planned next week, according to reports. Northam is planning to announce the move during a press conference on Wednesday, the Associated Press reported, citing 2 state officials familiar with the plans but unauthorized to speak about them publicly. The governor's decision comes after state Democratic leaders utilized a special rules committee to prohibit guns inside the Capitol and legislative office buildings. One official told the AP that Northam decided to ban all guns on the state Capitol's grounds after getting reports that pro-gun and militia groups were planning to attend the gun rights rally at Capitol Square next week. The Virginia Citizens Defense League, the organizers of the rally, has said that the demonstrations will draw thousands, according to the Washington Post, but the group's Facebook event indicates that more than 5,000 say they will attend. Of course, there may be even more. But an official from Northam's office, speaking on the condition of anonymity, told The Hill that it is credible threats of violence and extremism. In fact, they believe from the dark web that there are white nationalist groups that are going to be descending on the grounds. So what you have here actually is an interesting case. So you have the governor who is banning weapons in and around near the grounds because he believes that people are going to be carrying weapons in and around the grounds, which of course is their constitutional right to do. But actually, truly, what you see see here is a governor who fears for his people, who fears for his officials. And I'm being honest when I say that he's afraid. And someone doubted me on this, and I'm going to explain this to you. I know that this is true, that he's afraid, because it says here in this article from Washington Post with this annoying ad, please stop popping up. Guns banned in Virginia Capitol as Democratic majority takes first action on firearms. The Washington Post reports on January 10th. Richmond newly empowered Virginia Democrats on Friday banned guns from the state capitol, muscling through a sharp policy shift in a place where lawmakers often pack heat on the floor. The policy, adopted over vehement Republican objections, is a first strike for gun control by the House and Senate, both under Democratic control for the first time in decades. The legislature is expected to pass far-reaching gun restrictions before the 60-day session began. And it says the policy, which was set to take effect at midnight, pointedly applies not just to visitors who until now have been allowed to bring weapons into the building, but it goes down to say, but as a practical matter, Capitol Police Colonel Steve Pike said the policy will not be enforced with lawmakers. Okay, so of course, even though they're instituting this ban, this permanent ban of arms inside buildings, which sometimes could be understandable in some ways, what do we look at? Legislators, policymakers are exempt. So laws always apply to the people when it comes to taking away our constitutional rights to defend ourselves. But elites and Democratic establishment players always exempt themselves. That includes corrupt neocons and rhinos as well, with things like healthcare. So Ralph Northam, of course, is also urging people in this area, one article reports, to all government employees to avoid the area, to not come into work unless it's absolutely necessary. So he is actually fearing the safety of his staff and of government employees, which is ridiculous because this is not a rally for violence. And that's what the left wing is doing. They're trying to make this rally seem like it's a rally for violence, which is to get you, the citizen, to begin to associate guns with with violence and attacks rather than with defense and protection. And that's what's really interesting about this, is he's saying that these people they're protesting and they're going to attack, basically. We have credible threats of attack, when in reality, these people are trying to be protected. They want their guns so that they can stand against who? Tyrannical leaders like Governor Ralph Northam, who, of course, showing us that how absolutely vital the Second Amendment really is. Because when you look at this, he's afraid of an armed militia descending upon his capital, so which he is now banning the weapons, which means that effectively armed militias and those who have weapons are posing a threat to the government when they do things that the people don't like. So this is thus proving that a well-armed militia, which shall not be infringed according to the Second Amendment, is an effective deterrent towards a tyrannical and overreaching government who would violate our God-given rights. And so what's really interesting is it gets a little further. So to give a little background, if you wonder, what are these gun laws that are in place that are affecting the people to be so upset? Why is this protest happening? Well, this is from a local news center, Channel 3 News. It says, Virginia Senate committee strikes assault weapons bill, advances after proposed gun bills. So you had this bill called SB 16, which was Senate Bill 16, which was proposed by Senator Richard Saslaw, which, that's ironic, his name's Law, would have expanded the definition of assault firearms under Virginia law, outlawed their possession, outlawed the selling or transfer of any firearm magazine with a capacity for more than 10 rounds of ammunition. So first of all, people have asked me why I use the phrase assault weapons when I'm talking to people. I think it's funny because it's really, what is an assault weapon, right? An assault weapon is something that you assault people with. They don't really exist. It's not real. But when the left-wing militias carry assault weapons at their rallies, I like to point out that they're assault weapons just to prove to them that, it's so bogus. I'm going to use your lingo back on you. People that don't understand my sarcasm need to grow up, because there's a reason why I call Jessica Yaniv a her and then talk about her balls. If you don't understand exquisite and brilliant humor, then this channel is not for you. But that's between you, Jessica Yaniv, and her balls. Anyway, back to this. So this proposed gun law was trying to restrict essentially rifles and any magazines that could be used to protect against an encroaching military assault by the government. And what happened is the NRA has gotten involved, people have gotten involved, and they have let this legislation know that although due to concentrated population centers of far left ideas being able to dictate the overall laws for a state, which most counties do vote red. This is a move in the wrong direction, and the people are letting them know. But I want to let you know that Ralph Northam, of course, is not really a good person. And while he claims to be fighting for life and fighting to keep the place safe, remember, it was this same governor who fought for the legalization of after-birth abortions. Yes, I'm telling you this. This is a quote from him, if you don't remember, from earlier last year. This is an article from USA Today, a direct quote from the governor. It says, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportions, AKA saying if the mother didn't want to have the baby after it was born, we would leave it to die, which essentially is the murder of infants, also called infanticide. So this man who considers himself to be an advocate of protecting people will protect anyone as long as they are older than a freshly born human being. So this man does not care about the least of these. He's actually an extreme advocate of abortion laws. Remember, it was Cuomo, the governor of New York, who celebrated after 40-week abortion bans were lifted and people were now able to terminate their pregnancies and kill their child up to 40 weeks, decided that he wanted to light, I believe it was the One World Trade Center or it was the Empire State Building, I don't know, but he wanted to light it pink. He called the night that abortions were legalized up to 40 weeks a sweet night. That's a quote, a sweet night. And then he wanted to light up a building in pink in celebrating this sacrilegious idea and dedication towards exterminating pregnancies and killing children that we don't want. And these are the people that we are supposed to believe want to protect us. And so when you look at what's happening in Virginia, there is this overarching gun ban that has been put in place. A state of emergency has been declared. Why? Because the government is afraid of its people. And damn right, I will declare that that's why the Second Amendment is in place. I disavow all types of violence and insurrection when it's not necessary and the government is not in tyrannical order. I believe that guns are here to protect more than they are to attack. And even when you look at gun violence, if you take out suicides and gang violence, it's not really a huge issue in our country. In fact, it would seem that fast food is a bigger issue than guns overall. Thank you so much again for watching. Please continue to share these reports with your friends and family. Guys, we need you to help us beat the bias of the YouTube algorithms. You know, in December, we barely grew and we were having problems. And since we started asking you guys to share our reports and subscribe and genuinely being concerned, we've begun to grow again, and our reports are getting out in the hundreds of thousands to millions of views every single week. And that is because we are beating him through their algorithms. We are beating them in the same way as the government tries to destroy us. We will always push back. Thank you so much again for watching. Have a great rest of the day. And as always here at Slightly Offensive, we wish you a great rest of the week, and may God bless the United States of America.